And we are live. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to EduMatch Tweet and Talk number 8. Today we're going to be talking privacy, digital citizenship, all kinds of cool things like that. So make sure that you're following along with us, checking out our Hangout on Air on Google Plus at bit.ly/tweettalk8, obviously what you're doing if you're seeing us right now. And also we have a Twitter chat going on, #EduMatch. Speaking of EduMatch, then if you sign up at our website, edumatch.education, then you will be part of our EduMatch family, and we do everything together. We tweet together, we Google Hangout together, we Vox together, we podcast together, just everything. So come join us. Tonight's topic, once again, will be about digital citizenship and privacy. So we have some fantastic moderators today. We have Tammy Neil and we have Stephan Hughes. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Neil. I teach computer apps and game design at a small rural school in North Florida. Stephan, start your introduction.
All right, he might be frozen. Might be frozen.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Stephan, tell us about yourself.
Right. Good evening, everybody. You can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So my name is Stephan Hughes, as you said already. I'm an academic coordinator, lecturer in tech, English language teaching, instructional technology here in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Who's next? Pass it on to the next.
There we go.
Zena?
Yep, I'm taking it off. There we go. We good? My name is Zena Brown. I'm an educational technology specialist at the iTeach Center at Kennesaw State University. And with today's topic, the other thing that's real important to me is I am a mom of 4 from elementary to college.
Wow.
You say wow.
Okay. And Anibal?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anibal.
All right, we might have lost him for a second, but hopefully he'll be back to join us.
And let's see if Susie is here. Okay, I think we're going to move right on into question 1, and when they back in, we'll give them a chance to introduce themselves. So, question 1, what constitutes privacy when it comes to digital citizenship? What are the implications for education? And we're going to start off with Zena.
I mute myself. I think there's a lot with that question. Privacy, quite frankly, I've almost gotten to the point where I just don't consider a whole lot of stuff to be private anymore. It concerns me. We have parents, particularly when I was a teacher, that didn't want anything about their students up on the internet. That's Anibal. Be it their life story. We've done things where we have the kids sign the media release, and we took probably almost a year with legal going through making sure we had the right information in there. And even with parents that signed that and agreed that their child could be up on the internet, they were still unhappy about it. So I think we're still figuring that out on what makes and what can still be private even when you sign agreements.
Okay, and I think you're right. I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out what that is. Stephan, your opinion?
Yeah, I think just picking up with what Zena said about the implications, right? And I think we touched about this on some chats back, where parents complain a lot about what the students or what we're doing with the students, and they didn't even know the students already have accounts, right? So that is something, or they have lots of stuff on the internet that parents are not even aware of. So this is tricky. It's a big issue we should have to discuss. What goes on, what is not. So that's my take right now.
Sarah, do you have anything you'd like to add to this one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When we talk about privacy, I definitely want to piggyback on what everyone said. We need to take it as though whatever we post online, we need to be very responsible when making those decisions, because whatever we consider to be private, it's not necessarily the case. I try to tell my students that every quarter when we do our launch for our technology class, then the very first thing that we talk about is digital citizenship. And we talk about ways that you might lock your page down to a certain setting, but it really doesn't matter, because someone could be sitting right next to someone else and see what you say, or they could screenshot it, they can share it with their friends that way. It doesn't matter if you trust someone, then they can potentially put information out there that can harm you. So that's definitely something that we need to keep in mind. And I would say that the implications for education are that nowadays students grow up in a culture where they're kind of walking through a minefield. If they make a false move, then they have the potential to really get into some dangerous waters. So that's definitely something that they need to keep in mind, and we need to all keep in mind living in 2015.
Okay, Anibal, are you back with us now? No. Okay. Okay. Well, just listen, and we're glad to have you on the panel, even if we can't hear you right now. Okay. Well, for me, when I'm a lot like Zena, I don't know how much of what we put out online is private anymore. I mean, there's so many people that can see so many things. And as far as digital citizenship, I just tell the kids, I tell everybody, just assume that you can see everything. Just assume that nothing is private. And, even private conversations aren't private anymore. So, I think there's a huge implication there when it comes to digital citizenship and education as to student records and who can see what and who we're supposed to talk to about what and all that lovely stuff. I mean, I think it's a really deep issue. So, but I think that, Stephan, if you'll move us on to question 2, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll jump in for a second. So the second question would be, with the advances in technology changing so rapidly. Oh, are you back?
No, he's still on mute.
Still on. There you go, Stephan.
Yeah, am I still on now?
Yeah, now you're good. All right, so go ahead.
Ooh, technology. So yeah, question 2 we kind of tie in what we just talked about there. With the advances in technology changing so rapidly, what have been the implications for privacy in our daily lives? Let's start. Susie's not here, so we could start with Anibal. Is he still on? Is he with us? No. Well, Zena, what do you think about that?
There we go. Well, one of the things, and I know we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, is I know everyone's got that fascination with Periscope now, and someone put a Periscope of a woman. The title was "Drunk Woman Eating Cotton Candy at a Baseball Game," and I just felt bad. I felt bad for her because I'm going. She had no input on it. Someone just did a Periscope on it, and it wasn't really horrible. And I know allegedly it all drops off in 24 hours and etc. But I think it is. People are going to almost feel like you have your own paparazzi following you when you do something, because the question is someone going to whip out a phone and videotape whatever it is that you're doing? So that was, it was really going, you don't know this woman who's at a baseball game, but you have now put her all over Periscope, and just feeling really bad for her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. That's a very important point there, Zena. Scary at the same time, right? Tammy, what do you think of that, Tammy?
Well, I think that, Zena, I think you bring up a great point. I watched some of the videos that people post on Facebook even of kids who are coming out of anesthesia of having dental work done, or or people, quite frankly, making fun of people of odd sizes and the clothes that they wear and things like that. There's a ton of privacy, and people who don't even know that they're on the internet because somebody else invaded that space. And it just bothers me when I see somebody hiding a camera somewhere just to make fun of somebody. That's not funny to me, and it's sad commentary about our society today.
Yeah, and it's scary because it has I think ethical issues there as well, right? Yeah, I mean if you see something doesn't mean you should post it, right?
Exactly.
That's important.
Exactly.
I do.
So Sarah, sorry, go ahead, Tammy.
Oh, I was going to say, I do have some parents that have decided when they email pictures of their children, they actually put in their post, please do not share this on social media, or this is not to go any further than your email. So to think that you've got to do that with your family and friends is just a new way of thinking about your privacy now.
Yeah.
Courtesy.
Yeah, you never know. You could be sleeping with the enemy, So you never know.
Yeah, that is so true. And I'm looking at the Twitter feed right now, and Anne had a similar comment. She said that she thinks it's still a tricky issue in education. Assume responsibility, need parent permission when working with minors, and that is so true.
Yeah.
But I just want to circle back to something that Tammy was just talking about a second ago about the hidden cameras. And one thing that I know was a huge topic of discussion, probably this time last year, now not so much, is Google Glass. How people were walking around with Google Glass and just you didn't know if it was on, you didn't know if it was off. And I had a pair too. I worked the whole basketball season, and my whole basketball coach salary went into getting a pair of Google Glass. But I have to tell you, I rarely wore them because I just felt so weird. Just because I assumed that people thought that I was filming them when I wasn't, and that was just such a weird feeling that it just made it just kind of uncomfortable for me. So.
Yeah, intimidating, right? It's intimidating. So, that thing, we could go from your last point there, Sarah, we could go straight into question 3, right? Implications, some of you have touched on this already, the implications for students, right? All these changes regarding evolving technology, Google Glass, for example. What are the implications, right, in the classroom and out of the classroom? So, Tammy, we can start with you.
Yeah. Okay, Zena, we're I think that there have been issues where teachers have filmed students and students have filmed teachers without the other one's knowledge, and I think that with the advent of the technology, just the technology we've seen in the last year has been so amazing. The GoPro now has, what is it, about an inch or so square for a GoPro now? Those things can be hidden anywhere. So it puts you on alert, and it makes you really suspicious sometimes of behavior in a lot of different places, including the classroom. So I think that it's something that we have to all address, and it's too difficult for schools to make, or districts to make decisions each summer. It's got to be an overall ongoing understanding of, no matter what the technology is, certain places are free from that type of distraction. I know I want to use video in the classroom. I want my kids making videos, but what I don't want are my kids making hidden videos.
Okay. Yeah.
I want it out and above board and in the open.
Cool. That's true. That's true. Zena, mother of 4 kids, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think it's when I've held off on my kids getting email accounts until it becomes kind of a part of their educational process. And then because of the type of email accounts they have, they all run through my phone. So I see all the emails that they get. And then I do see when they get invited to a hangout with their friends, and I'll be honest, I go back through and read the transcript, and yeah, my son's not on any of those hangouts. It's just not appropriate for me. And then the other thing is there's another piece of software that tons and tons of teachers are using, and in Louisiana they just passed a law where you can no longer use as a username or password any type of identifying information for students. So they're not necessarily scrambling, but there is no first name, last initial, no last 4 digits of their student ID number, no just initials at all. So teachers are trying to figure out something simple like, if I want my students to be global citizens and have things where they have usernames and passwords, what are we going to use? I mean, you want something simple that you can use on all your applications, but now their kids are named after action figures, and because they don't have a convention that fits in with this new law that they can use.
Okay, cool. Sarah, add something to that. Say something to that. That's great. Thank you very much, Zena.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I was talking with one of my friends, rafranz, on Friday night. She had a tweet out there about Periscope in the classroom, whether or not it is a good idea. And we were having a discussion back and forth, and she said some things that really kind of opened my eyes and opened my mind in terms of different things that we need to think about while we use these tools. And I mean, I know that we have not yet gotten to the specifics question, but definitely one thing that came out of that conversation, I realized that a lot of times we jump to a lot of times when something is shiny and new, then we might jump on it and say, hey, this is awesome, let's do it. And she kind of helped me realize that, you know, we definitely need to think twice. So this is something that I kind of in the back of my mind when I heard about Periscope, then, you know, that was definitely a concern at the forefront of my mind. I did not want to do anything to put my students at risk. But the fact is that as educators, we all need to be cognizant of that and think of safety first. So while those of us on the panel and maybe those people who are watching and engaging might already know this, then, you know, we definitely have to spread the word and spread the awareness to the rest of the profession.
Okay, cool. All right, Tammy, you want to bring home the last question there, and then you could maybe include Anibal if he's around.
Yes.
If he's able to. Okay, Tammy, go ahead. Take it from here.
Okay, so question 4, and we're going a little over tonight because this is such an important topic. Please give examples as to how recent tech developments, i.e. Periscope, drones, wearable tech, can affect privacy. And it looks like, Anibal, can you hear us? Okay. Stephan, let's have you answer the question first. You haven't answered one first tonight.
Well, example, I think you guys have mentioned some of that here a lot in terms of Periscope, drones, wearable technology, but we could go back to simple stuff. I think you said like screenshots of computers and stuff. Examples you see sometimes on the street. As we were talking this before, you know, public transport, you can see somebody texting something, and then I could just lean over and see their whole conversation, learn stuff about them. Yeah, so it's so easy to get stuff from people, and they don't know. They leave everything out in the open. You know, they forget that when you go online, you're leaving basically everything out in the open. You know, you're leaving your clothes to dry. So be careful, and it affects everything, you know, and people just, like, even in private groups, they just think they're in private groups so they can say whatever they want, but it's not that private. So it affects behavior, it affects attitudes, it affects, you know, what we say in general. Kind of think twice on stuff. That's my take.
Yeah, that's a very good point to make there, Stephan. Zena?
I think it's agreeing with everything you said about what do you take, and remembering and helping kids understand that it stays out there like forever. So I know that I was reading an article about a football team that looks at your Twitter feed when they start thinking about whether or not to recruit you to a college for a scholarship to see what things you've said in your past. And then one of my daughters, she just turned 21, and she wanted to take a picture, and I was like, nope, that's not going to happen because it's going to be out there forever, and you're going to need to apply for a job, and the first thing is they're going to check. Your Facebook page and your Twitter page is part of almost their recruiting process for a company. And then even my son attends a school where the teachers come and do home visits, and it was a great idea. Let's periscope about the home visit, but they also had the location turned on. And so that meant that essentially you were able to see, at least in the direction of the student, where the new student lived. And so it was simple things like, it was so powerful for people to see the periscope, to interact, to watch, etc. But then it was that one little setting about the location of going, you've got to check these things before you start your engagement with your students. And maybe with Periscope, more than students periscoping out, we need to start with our mystery people periscoping kind of into the classroom, where our students are the participators with the questions instead of being in front of the camera in the beginning.
That's a really good idea there, Zena. Really good idea. And that allows the teacher to model the behavior before the students get involved with it. So, Sarah, do you want to add some things to this? I think you have some new technology to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these things can be a little frightening at times when we think about, possible implications. But I think that the best way to kind of get around that is to get to know them. Same thing, I have a fear of flying. I took flying lessons, I took flying lessons, and now I can fly anywhere. So same thing when it comes to all of these new things. So everything that's potentially terrifies the mess out of me, I'll get one. For example, I think, I think Justin Ion tweeted something earlier this week about an article he had read with the drones and how people are just getting ridiculous with them nowadays. Drones are definitely very cost effective. I remember a couple months ago when I saw one under $1,000 on Amazon. Now you can get one for like $30. Of course, it's not as robust as the other one is, but I just ordered one yesterday for $80 that has a camera on it. So it's crazy because you could potentially take this thing, just like someone was saying on EduMatch. I can't remember who right now. It might have been Susie, but someone was saying how you could potentially take this drone and fly it in over the fence into your neighbor's backyard and see what's going on in their house. So that's definitely something that that is kind of a scary implication, but we need to figure out, we need to expose ourselves to this stuff so that we know exactly how we can best circumvent that. I think it was the article you were talking about a little earlier, Zena, with the people who were periscoping over the lady's shoulder, and it's quite possible. I saw a periscope, a great one that Tony Vincent did a little earlier this week about different photo lenses. So, just went ahead and ordered what he was talking about, and sure enough, you have one of these lenses that's like I think it's a fisheye, or it might be the macro, but it zooms like way in, and you can see all this detail from very far away. This thing cost $18. I think that was shipping included. So it's getting very real and very accessible. But the best way that we're going to be able to help our children, help our students kind of navigate through this world is to expose ourselves to these things and not run away from them. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I think that my internet flaked out a little bit, so I missed some of what you had to say, Sarah, but it just brings to mind all of the ways that our privacy can be invaded, and if we don't protect it ourselves, if we don't protect our personal privacy, then no one else will. We have to be the last line of defense for our personal privacy. And as teachers, we're the last line of defense for the privacy in our classroom. Those kids depend on us. So we have to really talk about not just digital citizenship, but citizenship in general. What is and isn't appropriate, what is or isn't, what was the word I was thinking of earlier? I can't think of it. Culturally acceptable. I mean, what is acceptable for us to share, what is considered public behavior and what is not. And that the distinction between the two is, to me, is very important. Very important. So I think that wraps up our questions tonight, Sarah. So we're going to turn it back over to our hostess with the mostest.
All right. Well, just wanted to thank you all so much for everything. Tammy, Stephan, Zena, Anibal, Susie, just everybody who was here, and everyone who is participating on the EduMatch hashtag. Also, our viewers, I see y'all down there, so thank you all so much for joining us. Just wanted to remind you that this Twitter chat will be storified, and it will also be available as an iTunes podcast. You can subscribe at bit.ly/EduMatch podcast. So come back next week, same bad time, same bad channel. We are going to be talking about how to make an awesome first day. We have some excellent panelists who have already signed up, and if you want to be a panelist, you can sign up as well by going to bit.ly/Tweet Talk 9. How could I forget that? Tweet Talk 9. So easy. Also, before we let you go, just wanted to let you know that EdCamp EduMatch is coming. So yay! That's going to be in about 6 days, if I'm not mistaken. And already we've had quite a response. I'm looking at it right now. We've only had it up for a couple of hours, but we have over 20 people already signed up. So make sure that you join us. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be on the MIT Unhangouts platform, which is something that I think that that all educators could benefit from using. So if you want to check it out, if you want to take it for a spin, see how it works, while also having this great conversation, this great dialogue and learning together, then join us on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and just go to bit.ly/EdCampEduMatch. All right, so that is it. So thank you all again, and have a great one. Salud.